How does a nation rewrite its destiny, from hand-tilled fields to skylines that scratch the clouds, in one lifetime? Yesterday, quiet, scarce, closed. Today, fast, bright, connected. Look at Shanghai, look at Shenzhen. Forests of light, built on relentless ambition. This is the story of that transformation, from isolation to the heart of the global stage. In the middle of the 20th century, before the era of reform, China was a land of profound poverty and isolation. Black and white rural life, families, fields, hard work. The vast majority of its enormous population, then approaching 1 billion, lived in rural villages. Their lives were dictated by the seasons and the soil. They worked on collective farms using methods little changed over centuries. Planting, harvesting, often with simple tools, using animal labor. Food security was a constant concern. Periods of scarcity were a recent and painful memory for many. The nation's economy was centrally planned and largely closed off from the outside world. A deliberate policy of self-reliance led to economic stagnation and widespread hardship. The landscape of daily life was modest and uniform, with limited access to electricity, with limited access to running water. Children worked alongside their parents in the fields from a young age. Educational opportunities were scarce, especially in remote areas. In the cities, there were no futuristic skylines, gray, functional apartment blocks, wide boulevards, more bicycles than cars, few cars. Factories existed, but they were state-owned, often inefficient, producing mostly for the domestic market. The vibrant consumer culture of modern China was simply unimaginable. The turning point came in 1978. Following the death of Mao Zedong, a new pragmatic leader named Deng Xiaoping rose to prominence. Having witnessed the failures of rigid central planning, Deng understood that a radical change in direction was necessary for China's survival and prosperity. He introduced a new philosophy: it doesn't matter if a cat is black or white, as long as it catches mice. This signaled a monumental shift away from strict communist ideology toward a focus on practical results and economic growth. His vision, which came to be known as reform and opening up, was not a detailed blueprint, but a bold experiment designed to unleash the latent productive forces of the Chinese people. The first major changes began in the countryside. The government dismantled the collective farming system. It introduced the household responsibility system. This new policy allowed individual families to lease land and decide what to grow. Crucially, they were allowed to sell any surplus produce on the open market after fulfilling a state quota. For the first time in a generation, farmers had a direct incentive to work harder and more efficiently. The results were immediate and astounding. Agricultural output surged. Food shortages eased. Rural incomes began to rise. Simultaneously, Deng Xiaoping began to cautiously open China's doors to the world. The most significant policy was the creation of special economic zones. These were designated coastal areas: Shenzhen, Zhuhai, Xiamen. In these zones, foreign companies were invited to invest, build factories, and hire Chinese workers, with tax incentives and more liberal rules, creating laboratories for capitalism on Chinese soil. With the new policies in place, China embarked on its next great phase, becoming the workshop of the world. The special economic zones acted like powerful magnets, drawing in a massive wave of foreign investment, from Hong Kong, from Taiwan. These investors brought capital, modern machinery, production techniques, management expertise. They quickly established factories for export, using China's vast, inexpensive labor. The trickle of foreign capital became a flood, and coastal regions transformed at breathtaking pace. The quiet hum of rural life was replaced by the roar of the factory floor, a sound echoing across the globe. As the success of the special economic zones became undeniable, China confidently deepened its integration with the global economy. By the 1990s, the opening up part of Deng Xiaoping's agenda was in full swing. The country actively courted foreign direct investment. not just in the coastal zones, but across the nation. Multinational corporations from the United States, Europe, and Japan saw immense potential as a production base and as a future consumer powerhouse. Volkswagen, Motorola, Procter & Gamble, establishing joint ventures and subsidiaries. They brought advanced technology, modern management practices, and access to international markets. A pivotal moment came on December 11, 2001. China officially joined the World Trade Organization. Membership required lower tariffs, opening more sectors, and adherence to international trade laws, in return for reliable market access worldwide. WTO accession turbocharged China's export machine, cementing it as an indispensable link in global supply chains. The influx of foreign investment did more than build factories. It transformed Chinese industry. Local companies learned by observing and competing. They absorbed new technologies, improved quality control, adopted efficient methods, moved up the value chain, and launched their own brands. The era of integration was mutually beneficial. The world got low-cost goods and tame inflation. China gained capital, technology, and markets to reduce poverty. As China grew wealthier, its leaders realized that a model built on low-cost labor was not sustainable. Basic manufacturing alone couldn't carry the future. The country needed to move from made in China to created in China. Beginning in the 2000s, the government launched ambitious policies, pouring funding into R&D, expanding higher education, and incentivizing intellectual property. That pivot created a new generation of tech giants. Alibaba, Tencent, Baidu. Alibaba revolutionized e-commerce. Tencent's WeChat became an all-in-one platform. These firms didn't just copy, they innovated. Mobile payments, super apps. Backed by Made in China 2025, the state funded and protected emerging sectors. Robotics, artificial intelligence, electric vehicles, biotechnology, blending state support with private dynamism into a powerful innovation engine. China became the world's largest EV market, a leader in 5G, and a major contender in AI. High-speed rail link cities in hours. QR codes power daily life. Today, on October 26, 2025, China stands as an undisputed giant on the world stage. Its 40-year surge has lifted it to the position of the world's second-largest economy, and by some measures, the largest, the biggest manufacturer, the largest exporter, a formidable leader in technology. Its cities are symbols of modernity. Its infrastructure is world-class. Its influence reaches every corner of the globe. This economic miracle has lifted over 800 million people out of poverty, an achievement unparalleled in human history. Having established itself as an economic powerhouse, China began to project its influence outward. In 2013, the Belt and Road Initiative was unveiled. Often described as a modern-day Silk Road, it aims to connect Asia, Africa, and Europe via overland corridors and maritime routes. The scale is immense, involving over 150 countries, building roads, railways, pipelines, ports, and industrial parks. Chinese banks and companies have funded power plants in Pakistan, railways in Kenya, and ports in Sri Lanka, reshaping connectivity. But controversies persist. Debt sustainability, transparency, environmental impact, and concerns that economic leverage could translate into political influence. Despite criticism, the BRI advances, a centerpiece of China's grand strategy to build a more interconnected Sino-centric economic order. Yet new challenges loom: rapid aging, a shrinking labor force, and high domestic debt. The old formula of infrastructure and real estate is showing strain. Externally, tensions over trade, technology, and global influence threaten to fragment the system that enabled China's ascent. The path forward demands a shift to balanced, sustainable growth, driven by domestic consumption and high-value innovation. Bridging regional inequalities, caring for an aging population, and keeping the economy dynamic will define the next transformation. China's rise is a testament to pragmatism, strategic planning, and the hard work of its people. It has reshaped the world and redefined what is possible in development. The successes are undeniable, but the future is not preordained. The unwritten chapter will be defined by how it confronts these challenges. As this new era unfolds, one central question hangs over the globe. What does China's rise mean for the future of global power?